Do you like robots, or particularly how they sound?
Protocol? Why, it's my primary function set.
Yeah, all right, shut up. I'll take this one.
Please put down your weapon. You have 20 seconds to comply.
Hello, I am Baymax. I was alerted to the need for medical attention when you said, ow.
Welcome back. Today, we're going to be talking about how to mix the sound of robot voices. I'm Paul, your host. I'm a sound editor and re-recording mixer of 20 years. And for the past 3 years, I've been working on trailers for feature films. A thing that inspired me to do this video is that I saw The Wild Robot. And particularly on social media, I saw Skywalker Sound do a few videos on how they did the sound design for Roz, the robot in the film.
Hello.
Bonjour. Guten Tag. Hujambo.
Hola. Congratulations on your purchase of a Universal Dynamics robot.
I am Rosum7134.
Rosum always completes its task. Just task.
Congratulations on your purchase of a Universal Dynamics robot.
One thing that makes these sci-fi robots so wacky and lovable is the way that they sound. So I wanted to do a few things to kind of show how you could do that in your DAW. First, I recorded some vocals just to have some lines to work with. I also recruited my sister-in-law to be a voice of a female robot, an assistant. And now I'm gonna take them into Pro Tools and show you how I make them sound like robots. So here I have some dialogue that was recorded by my sister-in-law, Andrea Schell. I'll put her link in the description to her website. And I'm gonna first play back her clean recorded dialogue here, and let's listen to that.
Hello, I'm SP4K, your friendly, everyday robotic assistant. I have been designed and activated to make your life easier, brighter, and a little more fun. Whether you need help with everyday activities, a reminder, or just someone to chat with, I can do it. It is my primary function to serve you. Please let me know how I can assist you today.
All right, so that's the clean, I've done nothing to it other than a little bit of EQ dialogue. And now I'm gonna walk through, so all of this has been done in advance, so this is not a watching me process as I go. This is more just revealing the tricks, okay? This track I'm going to mute, and we're going to listen to now. So my first track that sounds the most clean is what I labeled as robot speaker here. We're going to take a listen to that.
Hello, I'm SP4K, your friendly, everyday robotic assistant.
All right, so I'm going to assume that you have some knowledge of how a DAW works and have some plugins at your disposal. I just happen to be using the ones that I have. Most of them are going to be FabFilter and Sound Toys and Speakerphone, Altiverb. Great plugins for creating spaces and speakers. Okay, so first, this is sort of like if you had mic'd the speaker directly and there was no tin can around it. This is what the sound of it is.
Hello, I'm SP4K, your friendly, everyday robot.
So that's what I'm kind of trying to mimic, is like what the speaker that's coming from the robot sounds like. As we can see here, I have a low cut. I bumped down a little bit at about 250 hertz here, like 3 dB. I've taken out some of this 600 hertz. I guess maybe it sounded a little nasally or something in that range. And then I just took a slight bit off on the top end. Then,
hello, I'm SP4K, your friendly, everyday robotic assistant.
I've added a fair amount of compression here. It's compressing about 6 to 8 dB.
Hello,
and it's compressing
I'm
quickly.
SP4K,
as you can see here, FabFilter Pro C. Okay, now little radiator. I think in one of my other videos, I called this the little heater because I couldn't remember what it was called. Little radiator is the famous preamp, I think, a 1566A mic preamp, but it has a good amount of saturation in it. This is a good emulation of preamp distortion, I guess is what you might call it, but people call it saturation. Here, let me take off the de-esser on the speakerphone. You can hear what it sounds like.
Hello, I'm SP4K, your...
And then without it.
Hello, I'm SP4K, your friendly, everyday robot.
You can just hear like some of the words that poke a little bit even after the compressor. Just hit this a little hard.
Hello, I'm SP4K, your friendly, everyday robotic assistant.
And they just kind of compress and give a little bit of that sort of natural saturation that a preamp does. Okay, next is the speakerphone. And I just happened to pick this tiny radio because I figured, they're going to be a small speaker inside their voice. No other stuff. So I basically just used that. And then what I did was I'm using the wet dry slider in this program. And so it's 51% dry. Basically, whenever I'm doing stuff, I'm always just kind of like A-Bing with it on and off, seeing if it sounds better, a little wetter, or a little drier. It's kind of my creative process. So this is the speakerphone.
Hello, I'm
I'm going to turn it off.
Hello, I'm SP4K, your friendly, everyday robotic assistant. Hello, I'm SP4K.
It just kind of like tames the highs just a little bit, gives it a little more of that like it's a speaker a few feet away from you kind of sound.
Hello, I'm SP4K, your friendly, everyday robotic.
And then lastly, I just have a de-esser just because.
Hello, I'm SP4K, your friendly, everyday robotic assistant.
It's not doing a whole lot of heavy lifting in this because I've already reduced quite a bit of highs, but
hello,
I just don't like having sibilants poke through, so I just always will have this on something. I'm just going to keep moving through these layers. Now, the next layer I have, this is a metal layer. We'll listen to that now.
Hello, I'm SP4K, your friendly, everyday.
So that's just kind of trying to simulate what that speaker's sounding like when it's resonating inside the metal shell. I've cut a fair amount of low end on it. I dipped some 400, boosting some mids. On this one, I'm actually using, this is a Bomb Factory plugin, BF76, a peak limiter.
Hello, I'm SP4K.
And I have the release and the attack set all the way up, which on this compressor style, the larger the number, the faster the attack and release. I have the input set fairly high so that, as you can see, we're hitting kind of averages around -5. And then just using some output makeup gain just so it's not too quiet.
I'm SP4K.
Again, I'm using another speaker, same speaker we had before, although this one I've got completely wet. So let's take both of these. I have two speakerphones. I know it's weird. This is without the speakerphone.
Hello,
There we go.
I'm SP4K, your friendly, everyday robotic assistant.
Okay, so that's what it sounds like without any speakerphones. Then we got
Hello, I'm SP4K, your friendly,
This-
everyday robotic assistant.
that's this speaker by itself. Then this other one I have this going through not only that first speaker to make it sound like, this this world receiver, but I also have it going through the secondary one as a old black phone. So it sounds like the receiver side of a telephone. And then I have it going through a Scheps CM-C5U, which is a typical boom mic. But you can turn this degrade noise up. I just have it just slightly up. It just kind of gives it a little bit of grain. And then I've also got, this is kind of like the main thing that's going on in this particular layer, is a soup pan. So it's like the vibrations inside of a metal container.
Hello, I'm SP4K,
I'm gonna mute.
your friendly, everyday robotic assistant. I have been designed and activated to
You can hear how that just really like not only kind of brings the volume down on that, but it also it gives it like that like rattly tin canny kind of sound. Now on this, you've got pitch and you've got mix. I have mix all the way up, which is probably why it's reduced the volume quite a bit. And then again, a de-esser just
Hello, I'm SP4K, your friendly,
in case. All right, so that's my metal layer.
Hello,
We'll just listen to it.
everyday activities, a reminder, or just
So here's the metal layer with the speaker.
everyday activities, a reminder, or just someone to chat with. I can do it.
No metal.
It is my primary function to serve you.
You can just hear that resonance in it. It's just sort of lingers there at the end of the word, which is nice. And okay, next this is like my pitch layer. Basically, this voice that I'm doing is kind of like my attempt at a Roz style voice. So I'm using the same amount and same type of layers that's going on with Roz. So this one is a pitched modulation source. Okay, so here's what's going on with this one.
Everyday activities, a reminder, or just something.
So I have the pitch. It was basically like I set it to 0 so that it sounded like the original pitch, but I pitched the formant up. So if you manage to find the right balance between formant and pitch, you can really do stuff. Anyway, so I have formant set to 3.1, which just gives her a little bit of that sort of like higher pitch almost, if you listen.
Everyday activities, a reminder, or just something.
But it just has a quality to it that just sounds robotic when you start messing with the formant. And then I'm using, so in Pro Tools, you have this function called the pen tool, and you can use stuff like freehand. I'm using the triangle tool, which is the most similar to a sine wave. I don't think there is a sine wave in here. And I basically just dragged that triangle along here on the pitch lane so that it gives it an LFO across the pitch, which just gives it a little bit of modulation on its own. And we'll take a listen to that.
Hello, I'm SP4K, your friendly, everyday robotic assistant. I have been designed and
which is nice. Okay, then we've got our EQ here. Now, because this is just a modulation lane, I didn't want it to be too forward or present in the mix. I wanted to kind of roll off a bunch of highs, so that's what I've done here. And obviously rolled off a bunch of lows as well. So we've just kind of got the mid-range frequencies that we're hearing after the pitch shifter. And then I have this Juno-style chorus happening, basically 50% mix on button 1. And that's all that's going on. This is a very simple tool. And I didn't want the spread to be too wide.
Hello,
it gives it
I'm SP4K.
a subtle, if you have it panned all the way, you can hear a lot of stereo separation, but I just wanted it subtle, so I kept the panning at 28-ish. Gives you something.
Hello, I'm SP4K.
You can hear what it sounds like without that.
Hello, I'm SP4K, your friendly, everyday. Hello, I'm SP4K.
It just gives you that kind of standard, it's almost like C3PO modulation. It's real good. And finally, I have the vocoder layer. Now, this one was tricky because at first I don't think I've ever used a plugin for vocoder before, so I had to figure out how to do this. And it was quite tricky. Now, I have Native Instruments, and so there's a reactor, and I looked it up. I was like, what's the best Native Instruments plugin for a vocoder? And there was a bunch of people saying, use Razor. It's a great vocoder synth. So I just opened up Razor. I started playing the keys on it, and I picked one that sounded good as a vocoder voice. And so then what you have to do, normally how in Pro Tools, how you would open up a synth is you would select new, right? And you would go in here and you would say instrument track, and it would open an instrument track. Usually the default is like a yellow, of course in stereo. And then you could put your instrument up there. I'm canceling. And you'd be able to play it with your MIDI keyboard and you'd hear it. In this case, I needed to run audio through it. So I thought, okay, well, you can run audio through an auxiliary track. So if you notice here, this is my vocoder. This is essentially my original track. It's just this, okay?
Hello,
So
I'm SP4K.
I just have that voice coming through my robot vocoder. I'm just going through this compressor, and that's it. It's compressed so that I've got a good amount of signal going through it. I have it set to 0, and my output is this bus 17 and 18, which I then sent to the aux track with reactor in it. Now, because this is not an instrument track, you can't trigger any MIDI notes. So I open a MIDI track, and I set the output to be the vocoder on reactor's MIDI in channel 1. Boom. Now, if you take a look, I've got MIDI tracks here. It's just a bunch of triads, and they're all major chord. I think there might be one a sus4 chord in there somewhere, but they're all major chords, which is what it sounded like was happening with Roz's voice. So just put together a whole bunch of major chords, just doing all major 2-5-1s, and then sometimes modulating to a different key. But it really gave it that extra happy Roz voice. And here's that layer.
Hello, I'm SP4K, your friendly everyday robotic assistant.
And again, I'm using another speakerphone, and I put this one through the metal as well, but on the mix is only at about 85%. And I used a little bit more degradation to give it some mic grain on this Schell's microphone. And again, a secondary
Hello, I'm SP4K,
compressor,
your friendly everyday
just so this one is really compressed. And I boosted a bunch of hot upper mids, but I kind of cut that like air tone and a lot of lows.
Hello, I'm SP4K, your friendly everyday robotic assistant.
Now, let's hear all the layers together.
Hello, I'm SP4K, your friendly everyday robotic assistant.
Maybe that vocoder could come down just a little bit. It's a little more present than probably should be, but I'm proud of it. So sometimes you just gotta not take your work too seriously.
I have been designed and activated to make your life easier, brighter, and a little more fun.
Great. Then that's the mix. Now let's show it in context with a little cartoon.
Hello, I'm SP4K, your friendly everyday robotic assistant. I have been designed and activated to make your life easier, brighter, and a little more fun. Whether you need help with everyday activities, a reminder, or just someone to chat with, I can do it. It is my primary function to serve you. Please let me know how I can assist you today.
All right. I may have recorded too many lines for this one, but I did it back and forth. It's supposed to be a human and a robot interacting like they're lost on some desert planet. And here's the interaction between the two of them. Just clean, not robot sounding at all. All right, I'll scan the horizon from here. You try pulling up some coordinates.
Sure, I'll just tap into the entire planetary network. No big deal. You know, while you're up there squinting like it's some kind of treasure hunt.
Hey, you never know. Sometimes a good view can lead to something.
Oh, I agree. Nothing says efficiency like standing on a cliff and hoping the city just pops up.
Okay, that's good. So that's my robot clean voice that I recorded, and we're just going to work our way through it again. Speaker. Now, really not too much is different here.
Sure, I'll just tap into the
Same.
entire planetary network.
I'm using the same
No big
signal
deal.
chain
You know,
I did on the other voice. The little radiator, the same speaker here, the world receiver, I like the sound of that, and a de-esser. So all that's the same.
sure, I'll just...
I think in this particular version,
Sure, I'll just tap into the entire planetary network.
yeah, it looks like I actually wrote that other plugin on here. So I don't know why I did that way, but so basically these settings, that's why this particular one is bypassed. So this setting right here, I must have just wrote to this track and then realized, wait, I got to explain how I do it. So I then opened up the track, bypass it, so they aren't hearing what's being done twice on there. But that's basically what's happening here, is you're hearing this setting here already written to that track. All the rest is the same world receiver speaker set to full there, the same 1176 plugin,
No big deal.
just over compressing it, boosting a little mids, taking out a bunch of lows. Next. Now this one, okay, so you can see here I have two different pitch layers, one for her and one for him. So this is a different track. So his pitched layer is different. I wanted this guy to, in a way, this is kind of reminds me, if any of my viewers are old enough to remember Robotech, also known as the Macross saga from 1985, there were these aliens known as the Zentradi, and whenever they spoke, they always had a little bit of this like low pitch and echo to it, so it was like trail off as they spoke. And I thought that was an interesting effect, especially for the day. I'm almost positive they used a Eventide harmonizer like I think it was the E3000, which came out in like 1985 or 1984. A lot of guitar players were famous for using that, including somebody I used to work for, Steve Vai, who I think still to this day owns the rack unit of that thing. But I just really loved the way that sounded. So this pitched layer has a couple of things going on. So we got, again, the little altar boy. This time the formant and the pitch are quite far down. So -7 on the formant to give it that really low So the pitch is at -6, the formant.
I'll just tap into the entire planetary network.
The formant is going up and down. And then I have it going through Soundtoys Crystallizer, which is a granular echo device. Let's see, 28% wet. And then I have the same EQ going on as I did on the other track, where I just cut a bunch of highs and I cut a bunch of lows. And
I'll just tap into
let's hear what all of those 3 layers sound like so far together. So this voice only has those 3 layers. So let's take a listen.
Sure, I'll just tap into the entire planetary network.
Now, if this particular robot voice sounds familiar to you, leave a message in the comments if you've gotten this far as to what robot do you think this voice is emulating? Which robot character in media? I'll give you a hint. It is something from within the past 2 years, this character was in some form of media, robot character. Leave a comment. Let's take a listen to this with its animation. All right, I'll scan the horizon from here. You try pulling up some coordinates.
Sure, I'll just tap into the entire planetary network. No big deal. You know, while you're up there squinting like it's some kind of treasure hunt.
Hey, you never know. Sometimes a good view can lead to something.
Oh, I agree. Nothing says efficiency like standing on a cliff and hoping the city just pops up. But don't worry, I'll be here scanning in the meantime, making sure we're at least heading in the right direction. You know, so we don't end up in the middle of nowhere. Again.
As I'm trying to minimize my own personal use of AI because I know that it uses a lot of electricity, I actually hand drew that last robot. Here he is. And then I scanned him in, cropped him out, and photoshopped a background like he was in the sand there. Leave a comment if you like this video. Tell me what you thought about it. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks a lot for watching.